The new album is out very, very soon. I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, but it looks like it's called Damnum.
Yep. You got it.
There you go. Just got to trust your own eyes sometimes.
After apoptosis, apoptosis.
Yeah. What's the meaning of the title? I mean, because I was looking at it and it seems to be all capitalized, so I wasn't sure if it was an acronym or what.
No, so it's Latin for loss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think in more modern terms, it kind of it's more in legal terms like loss of property, but historically it just meant a loss of, a broader sense, which after COVID, I think we've all experienced a little loss. So
absolutely,
it seemed appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Good. And so how did you come up with this title?
It just kind of tied everything together. All the songs are kind of like, a little bit based in that, and then we had the band is very, very proud of the last track on their Only Loss, and it was like, oh, should we make it the title track? And then it just seemed a little on the nose, and I think some other band had something very similar to that. Yeah. So then I think we just pumped it in the computer, and we're like, oh, Damnum, that has some attitude to it, and also, it's the same message, but a little less on the nose. So
absolutely, it makes you look smarter, and it sounds like damn them. So
yes, right.
Perfect for me.
I feel smarter from having looked it up. It was in my learn a word a day calendar.
Word a day toilet paper.
That's right.
And as for the recording of this album, how was this? Was this a pretty smooth process? Were you able to get together to record this?
Yeah, we going back to Denver with our buddy Dave, who's done all our records minus one. But it was pretty normal. Yeah. I would say the only thing that was a little different about the recording process was we all kind of lived together and everybody stayed for the entire record, which has never happened before. Usually a drummer comes in, does his tracks, and then gets the hell out of there. And then I'm usually staying there for the entire time. And then, Riley will fly in like halfway through bass and just like do his stuff. But everybody was there from like a couple days before we went in and then all the way until the record was completed. So
excellent. Yeah. And did you all kind of chip in by going with pointers or anything like this, or was this a case of fuck off, I've been doing it on my own for so long, I know what I'm doing?
That was very much my attitude, but was not the case. No, I was like going back to primary school and learning how to share again. No, we met twice prior to going in. We had like little writing retreats where we everybody would pick apart the songs, which was incredibly painful, but made for a great record. So, but it's art is pain, right? No, it's the first time we've ever done that. It was the very first time. And after 15 years, sometimes these old dogs, we don't like these new tricks that these young kids throw at you.
But like you say, it seems to have worked, because from what I've heard, the new album is fantastic and people seem to be really digging these new singles as well. Obviously, you've done the 2 videos of Beasts and Worms. I nearly got it the wrong way around, and Into Embers.
Yeah, but you're right though.
Yeah. Why were these songs chosen as videos, as singles?
We just thought they were catchy. Into Embers was like super kind of aggressive, which kind of was like, oh, okay, more old school. And then it had that super, sexy vocal hook at the end, which when they did the promo for it, they only used the clean singing part. And then I saw like our fan base like go ape shit, and we're like, oh yeah, the rest of the song, but just wait, you'll be fine. But yeah, I was just like, that wasn't well. It's out now.
Yeah. Oh, it's the internet. Innit? If it doesn't meet your expectations after 3 seconds, then it's garbage.
Yeah, I guess so.
And this is also your first album with Jeff on drums, Jeff
Yeah.
Saltzman. How's he fit into the lineup so far?
Oh, dude, he's a sweetheart. He's a great. I call him a kid because he's so much younger than me. He's a great kid. But getting his smart as a whip. He's getting his master's at Harvard
Oh
in
wow!
like hospital administration. I was just like, wait, you want to be a death metal drummer, but you're going to Harvard. Like, you have a better future ahead of you. Why do you want to do this? And I was like, of course I want you to do the record, of course,
Yeah.
because he's amazing. He's amazing. He's
Yeah.
a unreal talent. But I was like, I remember finding this out. I was like, you're going to grad school at Harvard, and then I was like, I don't know if we should announce him because I could see him. He's like, oh, he got a job offer. He's gone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that just makes us look super flighty. Like, we just got a new guy and then he's like leaving right at me. So I was like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea, but yeah, he's like all in it to win it, which has been super surprising for me. Just because I'm like, I guess after 15 years, I'm like, you have a chance to go make a really good living and have stability and not live in a van. What are you doing? But the young,
The young
angst, he's
Restless.
ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant, man. And
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things as well, like you say, he's got that there, but he's also got that to fall back on.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
want he doesn't want to get to that point where he goes, oh, I had the opportunity to drum for this band and that band, and I could have done this, I could have done that. Even if it doesn't
yeah.
work out with the band, which it sounds like it will, but just on the off chance that it doesn't.
Oh well, no, we're gonna handcuff him to the radiator now.
That's got to
Like,
live with his drumming though.
after he's done this record, and we're like, hey, wait, because it was super interesting because like we knew he was good, and then we jammed beforehand, and it was like, oh yeah, this guy's super solid, whatever, and then we mic'd him up, and then when you could hear like everything like properly, yeah, and we were just like, oh, holy shit, he's like on a different level. Like when you could hear him like, with the triggers, because I don't think we had the triggers his feet going through, so it's just kind of like the ambient sound in the room when everything's super loud and not isolated, and then when you hear him isolated, we're just like, oh good lord, yep, nope, you're not going anywhere, bud, you're not allowed.
Dear Diary,
Yeah.
jackpot.
We will kill him if he ever leaves.
If we can't have him, no one will.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
We've turned into like a really a really bad love interest, like one of those bad drama movies.
Well, as you mentioned as well, you've worked with Dave Otero on
Yeah.
this album. What is it about his style and approaches that you feel really gets the best out of the band?
Um, if you asked me this, like last album,
Mm.
I would have just said, well, he's just one of the guys. Like, he's one of our friends. Like, we've worked with him since 2007. Like, I've
Yeah.
worked with Dave. But now, and it's just always been good. He's been the go-to guy, because we're, being from Colorado, he's like the guy, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's just kind of, it's one of those things. It's just been our guy. That's who we've gone to. That's, and then I think, when you have looked at Dave's career from 2007 to 2022, he's a different guy. Like, not personally, he's always been a great guy, but just his skill set
Mm.
has leaps and bounds improved. I listen to some of the new things that he does, and I literally, I don't know how he does it. Like, I don't know how he can make everything so present when you like. I've counted. We've counted. I'm doing. My other band is in the studio, like doing our record with him now, and looked at the track count, and it's like 670 tracks, right? He has to wade through 670 tracks and mix it all together and make it not sound like shit.
Yeah.
And not only does he not make it sound like shit, he makes it sound amazing. And I can't wrap my head around his talent. Like, it's gotten to that point where it's just like, I went to Dave because he's just the boy, to now I'm just like, I'm completely blown away by what he does.
Yeah.
And just as a producer, he has great ideas. But I mean, like, this is things I've all said before about Dave. Like, oh, he's a great producer. He's really good at, like, you know, diffusing conflict within, if conflict arises within the room, and he's a really good tiebreaker, and he's also kind of like the outside where it's like, hey, we just don't know which one's better. What do you think? And you just go, oh, that one's definitely better. And it's like, cool. You go, that's part of, using your producer to the best, most effectively, when you're just like, hey, we got all these ideas, but we're all super close to the product. You're an outside guy. What's your opinion? And
Yeah.
then he's done so many things that he has a really good ear for. So you trust him pretty implicitly, and that trust has grown over the course of our career because when we first started, there was the butting of heads. I don't want to listen to you. This is my music or whatever. And then and the more you do this, the more you get in, you realize the value that he brings. That you start releasing some of that and valuing, like, him is what he should be valued. And then now it's kind of gone to a way of just like, all that is true, but I can't fathom how you take my bullshit and turn it into that. Like, he's amazing. I can't speak highly enough about Dave. And I think I've said that a lot, but it's becoming more and more so. Like, he blows me away.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Well, like we mentioned before, Jeff's in the band now, which is an obvious change. But aside from Jeff, what makes this a different album than the one I can't pronounce?
Hey, man, no one can pronounce their band name either. We're just staying on track.
If you've noticed, I keep saying the band.
The band. No, that's cool. I go for it. I want to get a pronunciation guide.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a visitor. Hi. Yeah, no, I the biggest thing is we made I think with Apoptosis, it was super rushed, and we had to make we made some decisions on that and how to, because everything was super rushed. I think we didn't feel our performances on the record where we wanted them to be. You know what I mean? So we made a conscious effort that we should change a few things, and one of them was being completely science focused. It was just like, if it's going to be, if you're going to have a more emotional relatability to the lyrics, then maybe you're going to have a more you're going to be more invested in the music, right? So we made that decision, just to kind of, I think we felt we kind of like maybe neglected a huge portion of the metal community, which was a really stupid business decision, for one. But it also is like, Riley he's no longer the new guy, but when he first joined, we did Proponent, we had already established this science theme thing that we were like, whereas I'm super, like, I am emotionally invested in science because I love it. But and it's not that he didn't like it, it's just not, it wasn't his fascination like it was for myself and Ezra, his the predecessor. So when he stepped in the shoes, he kept it up. And then when we got to Apoptosis, I think he kind of tapped out on it and just was like, I just don't know. I'm trying to, make this art singing about the chemical, things about how a fire starts, and I think he's just kind of like, okay, like, but I think that was as far as he could go, and just for for a better performance from him, I was like, dude, you got to be emotionally invested in it. If this is, to just for you, for him, for himself, and for the listener as well. So we made that decision. That was that we were still in the apoptosis cycle when we came to that decision, and then with all the things that happened over COVID, you know, that kind of put us. Damnum is a very, very specific snapshot of where the band was through a lot of emotional turmoil, loss of a lot of friends and family, and it was a raw nerve record, and then having everybody, because I'm tight. Yeah, just I mean having everybody in the same room and kind of writing the record together. It's a very interesting snapshot of where the band was, in COVID times. So
Yeah. Oh, I seem to be getting some sort of echo, but hopefully that'll go. There's something very eye-catching about the album is the artwork, as album art should be. Who is the artist for this one?
Travis Smith. We've worked with Travis for the last, I guess through COVID, we put out a couple singles just to try to, that we had already recorded just to kind of keep our name out there while everything was just kind of going haywire. And he did a fantastic job on the Roundabout, and I thought he crushed that artwork. And then he did I love the concerto artwork that he did for the Bach that we put out. And then he did do Apoptosis. Excuse me. So our first go with him was Apoptosis, and Travis Smith is he's just kind of the guy in metal. He's done Death, he does all the Opeth stuff, and he's just like I think of Travis Smith as kind of like metal art royalty. I think there's a couple guys out there that's like that. But for this kind of style, I think he is one of the top tier guys. So one of my favorite bands, Overkill. When I found out he did Overkill, I was like, we're going with Travis. Travis, and Travis is the coolest dude to boot. So it's always humbling when a guy has that big of a resume, and you're like, hey, would you be interested? And he's like, oh yeah, I'd love to. It's a really cool feeling, and he's a really, really nice guy. So
brilliant.
Yeah,
that makes all the difference, man.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and especially when it's not just a job to them. It's something they want to do as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you've got something very exciting coming up as well as the album. You heading out on the road? Are you hitting the road with Omnium Gatherum?
Yeah. No, it's super exciting. This will be our first Mellow Death tour, which has been a strong, kind of ingredient in the Legion sound since our founding. But we've never had the opportunity to really play with any Mellow Death bands. We kind of always been, being in the U.S., there's the core bands is huge here. So, there's a fair deal of, playing with them. And then, we've kind of gotten more into the tech death tours, which has been fantastic. And so this will be our first foray into the other side of the band, into this Mellow Death stuff. So I'm super excited about it, because I don't know, it's one thing because I mean, as an important ingredient is to the band, we don't know how Mellow Death fans will really embrace it. So it's going to be a good, measuring stick. It could be like, it could go really well, or it could be like they're playing too many notes, they need to stop. So it'll be a really good measuring stick, whether so I've been talking to Marcus off and on from Omnium, so I'm really excited to hang with the Finns and get on. So
good, man. I'm pretty jealous of everyone stateside that gets to see that tour, I have to admit.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
hey, if it goes really well, if I can suck up and they can love me enough, and I'm like, yeah, just take us to the UK. Let's do this.
There's one fat bald guy that really wants this to happen. Let's go. Oh dear. Well, after that tour, do you have any other plans cemented at the moment, or is it just
Yeah,
kind of playing it
we're
by ear?
yeah we have we're gonna do a headlining tour in June. We're just kind of the dates are just being finalized this week, so I think we should be ready to announce that pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah, and we got there's like some pretty cool surprises on it as far as like some one-off shows that are not like the first show that we just added to the beginning of the tour wasn't
Yeah.
planned, and it just kind of fell in our laps. I was like, oh, that's a cool like tour. So we got that, and then of course the in the winter we're coming over with Rivers and Isle and Archspire and Black Crown Initiate again to
Yeah.
your neck of the woods. So I'm super excited because the UK is my favorite place to play. So I can't wait to
Oh,
come
you.
back.
You don't have to lie to me. It's,
Oh, dude, man, London, Manchester. I don't. I just love playing the UK, man. It's my favorite. So I don't know. Wait, my father is from London, so
oh, right.
I
Okay.
always, when I ever go to the UK, I always feel like I've come home a little
Yeah.
bit. It's interesting. So, and I have lots of friends in the UK, so it's always a blast. So
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, once that happens, hopefully I'll see you then. Hopefully, even if I don't, you have an amazing time. And best of luck with this album as well, because it sounds like it's going to be something really special.
Oh, dude, thank you so
And
much, man. Appreciate it.
no, not a problem. Not a problem. I'm only being honest.
Well, that's good. I can see him signing off. Well, that was a waste of time.
No, I'll go into the other room and they'll be like, "Your nose is brown from shit nosing too much."
Yeah, not
Hey,
at all. Not at
no,
all.
cool. Well, Greg, thank you very much for taking time to speak to me today,
Oh,
man. I
my
really
pleasure, man. My
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Cool. All the best now. You look after
Yeah, you
yourself.
too. All right.